the role of corporate funding. Now, I want to talk about this role of corporate funding in Zilla elections. So, the
Yeah.
Zilla election, this is the
Yes.
this is the problem, and I was discussing this with some of the I won't name the sources, but within the BJP itself, that there has money has come to the party from the very company. I'm just going to specify the word company because they were very specific with that, but I will not say it. That crores of this thing money is come on the tune of 25 crores something for the BJP to fight this election. And that company even had a war room. They had a war room in order to decide, to strategize how this election should be conducted, which day is supposed to be conducted. All those things were decided. Now, how
Hmm.
far it is true, I don't know. So much so that even Aam Aadmi
Hmm.
Party got funding, and that is why they had so much money to blast people with calls, with SMSs. Is the party in the state earning getting funds? For that matter, any party in the state, is it collecting funds from the people? This is all corporate money, and it's just that maybe Congress or
Yes.
maybe some NGP is not getting those funds because they have to take a pro people stand, so they're not getting those funds. Aam Aadmi Party, of course, what happens in Delhi, they say it's local, but what happens in Delhi, nobody knows. But this we
Hmm.
corporate money has entered into Zilla election, and that is a huge disaster for the Panchayat Raj system. And if corporate money comes into municipal
Yes.
election and panchayat election, then might as well not have those bodies. It will be a total oligarchy where few companies will be controlling every level of the government, which is absolutely disastrous. And we don't want this to happen. Uh, so if at all BJP came out with a statement so far, I mean that is another thing that played to mind. Why did BJP first thing they said is this is a mandate for the projects, it is a development model. It is not your project, it is the project of these private companies. So are you saying
Hmm.
that people have voted for all these companies to transport coal through Goa? Is that what you're trying to say? Because that is the purpose of the project. So the point is that corporate money
Absolutely.
in any election is venom. It is a bribe. If at all we expect politicians to pay us, especially big parties to pay us for voting, it is a bribe which companies have
Hmm.
paid the parties, and the parties in turn are paying us, and that is
Hmm.
what
Hmm.
kills democracy. It has killed democracy in Russia. It has killed democracy in a lot of other countries, and is doing it in India. So that's something we have to get our mind off. I hope the new generation of candidates and even the parties evolve to keep corporate funding out and go into the grassroots, go back to people and ask them small donations, 50 rupees, 100 rupees, collect that money and fight elections rather than you know uh, getting all this blood money and dirty money from coal and other polluting industries and fighting elections. So
Absolutely.
that's
And
yeah.
Avinash, I would also like to add over here the recent development of electoral bonds also is contributing factor to this phenomenon, which is actually killing our politics and our legislation process, uh, because it is completely opaque. It is no political party who's getting the funding through electoral bonds is open to scrutiny, and it has been obviously very conveniently legislated in by none other than the BJP, and they are benefiting the most out of it because, as the figures were showing, about 96% of the funds coming to political parties is actually going to the BJP. So this is a very big contributing factor. So it is polar opposite to what you are suggesting about crowdfunding campaigns, and that's a very far off possibility until and unless people get up and talk about it openly and ensure that this is implemented.
Uh, there are these PILs that I have on my bucket list, and one of that is to file a PIL against electoral bonds as well as electoral trust. Electoral bond is just a worse version of another bad system called electoral trust. uh, if I'm a non-political person, or if I'm a company and I want to collect money from my fellow corporates, like suppose I'm in the steel industry, polluting industry, and there are other steel companies also that want the government to form a particular policy to favor us over the local people. Then what I do is I'll form a electoral trust. I'll collect money through the trust, and that money
Avinash,
will
you
go to the,
continue. I will join you
yeah.
back in a bit.
Okay. So they will take the money from these trust. Sorry, they'll take the money from these corporates, put in the trust, and they will, yeah, and then this money will be used for elections. Now the thing is, you cannot use these electoral trusts for the purpose of you collecting money from individuals. Suppose I'm a non-political person, but suppose we have a certain ideology of say free education for everyone, and we want to collect money from people who, for the purpose of funding candidates who are going to fight for free education. That is not possible to electoral trust. In fact, that is not possible at all. You cannot legally collect money from fundraise and distribute it to candidates who are going to fight for certain cause. So that's a big problem in our electoral system, and that needs to be changed. If there's any party, including the Congress, anyone who wants to fight the electoral election bonds or the electoral trust system, they have to start raising money from the candidates, sorry, from the public, and not depend on corporates in order to to fund these elections. So that is about the elections. That is the role of corporate funding in elections. The other thing, that coming back to the state election commission, what role they played till today, the election commission has not put up the election affidavits, the nomination papers of these candidates or the winners online. So we as citizens cannot look at the nomination papers of our candidates. What are they hiding? Why is it not done? This is a series of shortcomings of the state election commission. They are basically not interested in conducting a free and fair elections. They are, like I said, there was no awareness done about voting, like how it is done in MP election and in other elections. There was no training given for young people to vote, especially on ballot paper, because we are so used to voting on EVMs that people today don't know to vote on ballot paper. Dave, you're back? Yeah. Yeah. So I
Yes,
was
I'm
just
back.
saying that the role of the election commission, that they did not give training to youngsters on even to vote on ballot paper. We are so used to technology of voting on the machine that youngsters get confused when they see the ballot paper. It has to be folded in a particular way so that the stamp does not, when you hit a stamp on a particular symbol, you cannot fold it up and down, because that will create a duplicate, vote, and it get invalid. There were even a case where people didn't know where to put the ballot, so they were putting it in a gap in the tape in the table. The table had a crack, and there were couple of instances where people tried to put their ballot through that crack of the table. They didn't know there's a separate box where they have to put that thing in. In fact, the
Oh,
polling
okay.
officer then stuck a paper over that crack, but then another girl came in and she tore the paper off and she tried to push that her ballot into that gap of the table. So people don't even know, the new generation don't even know like certain things. Of course, in this particular cases, many of the ballot boxes were kept on the opposite side where they go to stamp it. So people didn't know that there was a box kept. But in any case, the state election commission did a very poor job. And another thing was the symbol issue. So that was another issue, that because people did not get to learn about what is their candidate symbol, they voted for
Yes.
they unintentionally voted for somebody else. So this is about the elections. I hope I hope our viewers get some information out of this, useful information out of this.